In this video, I just want to talk you through a little bit more about the 2006 Lao Ban Zhang GuShu Puerh tea that is available on HyperionHerbs.com. A little bit about what it is, why it's so good, and the psychoactive effects and other interesting tidbits about this tea. Now, if you are familiar with Lao Ban Zhang, then you kind of know what it is. If you don't, here's a quick overview. Basically, it is regarded as the king of pu'er tea, and it is one of the most famous regions for this type of tea. And subsequently, it is typically insanely expensive, rare, and hard to come by. On the flip side, the market is also full of a lot of fakes, a lot of counterfeits, a lot of phonies, and just a lot of really low quality things. So these are basically kind of two extremes that we might be working with. Sometimes they're one and the same. Sometimes the price is insanely high and it's fake, which is even worse. And this is large in part due to the popularity and the fact that it's a name brand. And in terms of Chinese teas, sometimes things that are name brands or famous, the price just goes way up because people want it, but there's a scarce limited supply. So you can figure out why that happens. Another reason is that basically one factory owns about 80% of the trees and the land in that area. So they basically get to control all the supply and all of where the tea goes and who it goes to. Which usually means what we actually get on the retail market and what usually comes out, and especially what makes it to the West, is not really going to be that good. So the tea that I've been able to source and I've been able to offer at an insane price for what it is basically from the remaining 20% of people who are not under the monopolized control of that factory and are thus able to produce and sell the tea as they see fit, thus not dealing with the insane artificial inflation and other just kind of nonsense that goes along with it. Because sometimes things are more expensive, genuinely because they are better and genuinely because there is legit scarcity. Sometimes they are better or they are more expensive just because of a country with a massive middle class and a massive growing upper class gets into something either for laundering its own money or for status gift giving or for purely for status or for a whole host of complicated factors that can drive the price of something through the roof, which happened for tea and has happened for agarwood and has happened for many other commodities due to these factors. So it can, at a certain point, become very complicated and confusing to even be able to ascertain, why is this expensive? Okay, if it is expensive, is it actually worth the price? Or is it just expensive based on all of these other variables and it's really not even that much better? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Point is, it's a bit exhausting at a certain point. So I've been able to source directly from a collector who sourced directly from farmers and producers in this region who are not under the corporate monopolized inflation. So hence I'm able to offer it at an insane price because people aren't just price gouging or going crazy. And the quality of this tea is superb, and yeah. So for the price, for what it is, it's an insane tea, especially if you like really high quality GuShu Puerh tea from old trees. So that's a little bit about what it is. I'm offering it in 1 ounce units and also the whole cake. Both prices are insane. And basically, flavor wise, if you've had high quality, legitimate old tree sheng, then you know kind of a bit about how this will taste. And due to the aging, it's any harshness that may have been there or bitterness or astringency has all been mellowed out, but it still has a lot of the bright green, fresh, crisp notes that you would expect in a raw tea. And it has, flavor-wise, it's hard to mess up when you brew it. Meaning I've done very quick flash brews, flavor's awesome. I've left water in there in the pot and forgot and walked away and came back a few minutes later. It was still really good. So it's very forgiving. It's a very easy tea to brew, and it's a very consistent, stable tea. meaning there's not these big spikes and these big peaks and valleys in its flavor and in its performance. It pretty much just hits a groove and stays in that groove, brews 1 through 20 or 30. It just keeps going. It's a tea that brews for a very long time, and usually I tap out before it does. And I usually brew 2.5 or 3 grams of this tea. I've brewed 5 or 6 grams, but honestly I find that if I brew less, it's actually more flavorful and I get more out of it, which is sometimes a bit counterintuitive, especially with the higher quality teas. I've found that actually brewing less leaf yields a better effect. I know people are out here brewing 8 and 12 grams of sheng, and I cannot imagine how that's even the thing when I'm brewing 2.5 and it's filling everything and brewing for hours. But again, in my opinion, that just goes back to the quality of the leaf material and the quality of what's there. One warning and caveat though is the tea is quite psychoactive for a lot of people, and it's not a productive want to get things done. It's more of a sit and relax and be reflective and just creative or enjoy things. So definitely keep that in mind. I would not recommend drinking it if you need to get a bunch of stuff done, because it can definitely be quite relaxing and quite sedating in that way. So that is what I would have to say about the 2006 Lao Ban Zhang GuShu Puerh on HyperionHerbs.com. I highly recommend checking out if you like this type of tea. It is an insane tea for an insane price, and definitely check it out. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon.